Thank you. It is Eric Preven from the 3rd District. Budget hearings are important, and 2 minutes is very hard on all of the budget. I'll do my best. I listened carefully to the conversation yesterday, even though I had to leave a bit early, about homelessness and about maybe reaching for more taxes or finding some way to get the $400 and something million. And I just want to emphasize that jail construction, which is being earmarked and was looked at by AECOM, the group that the supervisor was chasing a report on. And frankly, I've been chasing a report on the infrastructure of report from AECOM for a long time. And I've also asked the CEO to provide a look at the job order contracting, which is another way that the county is now deploying more and more money. And I'm concerned that some is falling off the side of the boat that could be put to good use. So I think thinking about how a big jail is the kind of housing, but it's the kind of housing that we have been in touch with the national zeitgeist, is the wrong type of solution. That incarceration of low-level offenders or all kinds of offenders is just not producing the result that we want. It's not helping with the recidivism. And so nationwide, people are saying we have to rethink this on both sides of the aisle. And one particularly glaring aspect of that is this suggestion that a good idea is to bring a women's facility to Mira Loma, 80 or 70 or 60 miles away, where women will be incarcerated in such a way that they will be separated directly from the communities where they live, where they are needed. Women are the glue in society and families, and the fact that that one slipped through because there was some state funding needs to be rethought. The fact that we're moving forward with a $2 billion jail without doing the appropriate reduction before construction is all I can say in 2 minutes, but I have a lot more to say. And I can only tell you that I feel the supervisor's pain in how to resolve these things. And finally, as I leave, why don't you write a 5-signature letter to the 139 billionaires who've made the pledge and see if they can provide some of them live in LA. I mean, someone ought to do something about permanent supportive housing.
Thanks. Next speaker.
Good morning, supervisors. I second the concerns of the last two speakers. By the way, the billion here, the billion there, I think was Senator Everett Dirksen some years ago. This session reminds me of perhaps Supervisor Antonovich and maybe Phil Ansel, who was there, I think, in '93, dealing when Supervisor Molina said, folks, you're talking about where you want to spend money. One of you ought to tell us where you want to cut money, because that's what we have to do if we're going to spend more. I appreciate the situation you're in. In effect, you folks are the Department of Pain Apportionment. It's not where you want to be. All of this speaks to me, and the dependency that you have on other jurisdictions to fund things that are on your list of priorities tells me that you really do need to have independent sources of income, and that's one of the reasons that I liked the housing proposal of yesterday. The objections to the proposal have a lot to do with this tension between state and county. The state ought to be reprioritizing its budget, said Supervisor Antonovich, and I agree completely. Supervisor Kanabe, if the county undertakes this plan, maybe the state will get into the habit of dumping things on us. It already is, of course. I share that. Or you're concerned, Madam Chair, that things will be, there isn't clarity about what's going on in Sacramento, and you're concerned about the proper apportionment among our districts. All of these are reasonable concerns. They're not reasons to do nothing, though. And this reminds me of a story. I looked at a social ethics textbook called the Book of Luke, and it has the story of the Good Samaritan who helped the person by the road who'd been robbed, beaten, and left for dead. When Dr. King told the story, he said there were two previous people who passed, one a priest who had to go to an ecclesiastical conference, possibly another a Levite, who said, if I stop and help this guy, maybe the robbers are still around, they'll attack me. And so the questions that came up then was, if I help him, what will happen to me? But when Dr. King retold the story, he said the operative question for all of us, and it's before you, is if we don't help him, if we don't stop and help him, what will happen to him?
Thank you. Okay, we have Monica Alcaraz, Nathaniel Virgo, Irene Muro, Chrissy Padilla Berkey, and Dr. Genevieve Clavral. Please just be reminded to state your name up front. Okay. Go ahead.
Good morning. My name is Monica Alcaraz. I'm president of the Historic Highland Park Neighborhood Council. I am a volunteer with Recycle Resources for the Homeless, a non-volunteer nonprofit working with the homeless in Northeast Los Angeles, which worked to open the first and only winter shelter in Northeast LA. I am also the Coordinated Entry System Regional Coordinator for Northeast LA. So I come to you as a resident and someone that sees the issue of homelessness from many different aspects. The